Well, now, I hope the sound is all right. Let me see. I'm a ghost right now. I'm not even in the show. Let me get in the show. Boom. All right. So here we go. The latest developments in the J. Scott Campbell debacle, the scandal. Right. I hope you guys enjoy my little kaiju music. As a matter of fact, I might turn down the volume a little bit so that you guys can hear me better. Let me do that right now. Kaiju, just imagine, you know what I mean? Kaiju's rap battling, you know what I mean? Stomping through Tokyo, and you got the Kaiju horn, you know what I'm saying? Like that Godzilla joint. Let's imagine King Kong and Godzilla, you know what I'm saying? Rap battle. Anyhow, the latest development in the J. Scott Campbell scandal is one that turned in our favor. In fact, it turned in the favor of anybody who's on the side of free speech, freedom of expression, and all these sorts of things. Right? So, for those of you who are unaware, every few months or so, let me take a look at J. Scott Campbell's wonderful work here. Every few months or so, the 12 cycles on Twitter, who basically make everyone's life a living hell, they target a industry professional. Any one of them who perhaps does sexy art. Let me go here. While I speak, we'll take a look at some of J. Scott Campbell's, awesome work. I've been a fan of his for a long time. Every few months or so, these 12 psychos target a professional. And usually it looks like the goal is usually like, they get in their feelings. Maybe the artist has created something new. Maybe they got a commission from Marvel, DC, Dynamite, or maybe even a film company like Disney. And those artists do a piece of work, but because the work is too sexy, for example, or maybe the work is faithful to the race of a particular character, these people lose their minds. The latest one that happened was there was a fan artist who redrew something drawn by J. Scott Campbell, and he did it in a way where he ingested, he or she, I don't know, they ingested their personal political opinions into it. It's fine if you just do it as an homage to the artist. I've done such things as well. But what they've done was let me lower the music even more here. I'm a little paranoid that you guys won't be able to hear me when I go to the playback. Give me a minute. All right, this should be better. Right, so where was I? Usually, right? Not usually. This artist went ahead and they drew over J. Scott Campbell's work. And they did it in a very obnoxious way where they low-key attacked J. Scott Campbell, tacitly calling him a sexist, woman-hating bigot, misogynist, that sort of thing. J. Scott Campbell kind of did something unexpected. He redrew the redraw, okay? And once he did that, and he got a little spicy with it, I'll admit that. But once he did that, the SJW contingent on Twitter lost their collective minds, okay? And we of the comic book ilk, the true comics fans, whether that be Comicsgate or someone who's maybe unattached to Comicsgate but still keep their independence about them, we all gathered together, we marshaled our forces, found common ground, and we went and protected J. Scott Campbell. We defended him. J. Scott Campbell, in turn, someone one of these threateners, I'm going to call them threateners on Twitter, because these 12 cycles, they operate like the mob. You ever see those movies, and then maybe if you're unfortunate enough, you've been subject to it yourself personally. But you ever seen the movies where, a mom and pop shop, they opened up and they're trying to get their business going or whatever, pay their bills, and then like a guy in a suit comes in, real sleazy looking guy in a suit, maybe even smoking a cigar, has, a fedora hat, and he's like, hey, nice shop you got here. Be ashamed if something were to happen to it, right? So basically, it's a low-key way of the mob threatening you. Like, hey, fires happen all the time. Be ashamed if this shop would have burned to the ground. You know what I mean? But for the right amount of money, we can protect you from such accidents. So these are the sorts of things that they do on Twitter. They kind of approach people like J. Scott Campbell and they say, hey, we couldn't help but notice that you were being defended by these sorts of people. Okay? I don't know if you know that these sorts of people who defended you, they're Nazis, they're misogynists, they're sexists, they're homophobes, they're transphobes. And if, it would be a shame. It would be a shame if your name were attached to such people and your career went down the drain. Okay? It's basically a threat. It's basically kind of like a mob extortion threat. And so what J. Scott Campbell did initially was he came out and he denounced Comicsgate. He denounced Comicsgate and virtually anyone who's non-SJW, right? Who were answering, the call to kind of like protect him. And once that happened, most of us who are Comicsgate adjacent, said, oh, another thing that happened is he shared funny videos from people like Dan Fan, That Star Wars Girl, and all these sorts of people who made funny videos about the incident. So what happened was these 12 psychos, these threateners, these gigabyte gangsters, keyboard killers, right? They came out and they said, hey, these people who are defending you and who you're, being nice to, they're the wrong kinds of people. Be ashamed if something were to happen to your career. So J. Scott Campbell, a millionaire, as your boy Zach said, a millionaire who's got better things to do, right? He doesn't have time to go research 3 years, or probably 4 years at this point, 3 or 4 years of incidences that's happened in this comic book civil war that's been occurring between Comicsgate and anti-CG. He doesn't have time for that. The guy's got money to make. He's got, commissions to keep on top of, right? So basically he, in my opinion, he kind of like typed in Comicsgate and maybe did a random Google search. And what comes up, you got to remember that what comes up will be propaganda against Comicsgate. So he came out and denounced Comicsgate. Look, I don't stand for hate and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Basic Zack Snyder kind of thing. And once we heard this, we came out in droves and respectfully, this time, we've learned our lessons. Because this has happened before. You guys have to remember that this would not be the first time that a professional, someone whom we admire, has been brainwashed by propaganda from these 12 psychos. And they came out and denounced us. So we've learned our lessons. We didn't come out triggered. We didn't roll in hot. Okay? We didn't come in hot. What we did was we came in very calmly, respectfully, right? And we said, Mr. Campbell, been a fan of yours for a long time, but with all due respect, I think you're wrong about us. Here's what we've done. Actually, we've championed the cause for better comics, comics based on meritocracy. And by the way, I don't know if J. Scott Campbell served us this, but it came as a serve because J. Scott Campbell says in the tweet that he made, I don't have that available right now, but if you hop on Twitter, you'll get it. In his tweet, J. Scott Campbell said, if you have any track record of things you've done for the community or for charity, etc., it seemed like a serve. In my low, deep down opinion, low, deep down in my heart, I think J. Scott Campbell knew what happened and got, kind of like, gave us a serve so we could spike it. Because once he said that, I came in. I won't take personal credit for it. Myself and many people came in, and we said, actually, Mr. Campbell, here are a list of things that we've been involved in. For example, we raised $10,000. That honor actually goes to Zach. I'm not going to take credit for what Zach's done, and we're not going to take credit for what Zach's done. Zach raised $10,000, right? Through our community. He raised $10,000 for the Trevor Project, which actually, contributes to prevention of trans suicides. Okay. And so, let me see, let's get the next image here. So amazing. This guy's work is so amazing. He's one of my top 10 favorite artists, easily top 5 of all time. I'm talking in the likes of Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Art T. Bear, and you got, J. Scott Campbell, Greg Capullo, top 10, definitely. So anyhow, we came in and we told him of all the things we've done, including Comicsgate adjacent. When Geeks and Gamers are not exactly Comicsgate, but they're Comicsgate adjacent, meaning they're friendly towards freedom of speech and of expression and stuff like that, and they routinely interact with people from Comicsgate. And so through Geeks and Gamers, and I had a part in that, in supporting it, through Geeks and Gamers, something like $100,000 was raised for teen suicide prevention. So we've been involved in all of these things, Mr. Campbell. So we told him this, and we approached him, respectfully, and that was a success. Because J. Scott Campbell, I won't keep this video too long. I know all of you guys, most of you who are in Comicsgate, give me a second. Most of you who are part of Comicsgate is no longer just a consumer revolt, just like Gamergate was. Comicsgate is now a creative hub, and I know all you guys got things to do. I won't keep you too long. Won't keep you too long. Sorry, I had to take care of something outside my window. Let me see. The first few words of the thing is not visible here, but here it is. Time to hear out several individuals who felt I painted them in a poor light when I made my statement about the divisive and heated rhetoric hidden within my message threads on Instagram and Twitter this past week. Some clarification that I feel is important. When I was stating earlier that I'm not comfortable being implicated or included in a group, any group, without my consent, regardless of the group. The reason I specifically referred to this group Comicsgate is because it was the only specific group that kept coming up by name. Honestly, from what I've read and what I've seen in documentaries about Gamergate and that whole fiasco, anything with gate in it probably gets an instant recoil from me. And some individuals who were making hateful and bigoted attacks were doing so in the name of CG. It's important to also state I encountered some very toxic and hateful things being said from the other side as well. Hence my earlier comments about feeling more pushed to the middle of these two extreme viewpoints about art. I stand by what I said. I don't tolerate any sort of hate speech, bigotry, racism, woman hate, and I will always push back on any association with individuals who act in this way. However, if individual members of this Comicsgate community adamantly insist That's not what they stand for. I feel I should give these folks the benefit of the doubt and take them at their word. Thank you so much, Mr. Campbell. And not paint the entire group with the same brush. Oh, woo, palms up to the Lord. They insist they are not a hive mind, as they put it, which probably is why their messaging is very confusing to someone in my position who really doesn't keep up with all the noise. Several have interacted with me very respectfully, and we openly engaged about our mutual concern about art censorship and exercising our artist freedoms of expression. And they've been very civil. Yes, we have been. Reasonable. Oh, yes, we have been. Occasionally even delightful. Thank you. I would like to imagine that you're saying that about me. These are important and valuable discussions we should all be having more openly and more thoughtfully without devolving into tribalism and absolutes. Oh, so Mr. Campbell, Jeff Scott Campbell, Jeff, can I call you Jeff? I feel like I know you at this point. I think you've gone from my top 10 to top 5 easily. Okay? These are very important, valuable discussions. So to these folks, I apologize. Thank you. We accept your apology. I apologize for whatever grief or embarrassment I may have caused you with my earlier word jumble and wide brush. I hope these individuals who feel unfairly grouped with them into a smaller group or bad actors will accept my apology. So he's apologizing to everyone. This guy's a saint, actually. Not only is he, if I understand this correctly, not only is he apologizing to us over at Comicsgate, he's apologizing to individuals who don't even want to be associated with any group at all. Okay? If I understand this correctly. It's not a good feeling being accused of statements and actions you haven't committed and aren't in your heart. I can certainly attest to that. Yes! Empathy wins all the time. I'm sure I will be vilified by some on both sides of this debate for clarifying myself. Actually, you will not. I'll explain later how you will not. And actually, talking to individuals of differing viewpoints. But I can only be true to my own values, yes, sir, and sense of right and wrong, and continue to treat others the way I want to be treated. I will continue to stand for my values, but I will try even harder to listen, learn, and try to bring us together rather than push us further apart. J. Scott Campbell. Absolutely. A few things I'd like to address here, though, J. Scott Campbell. One of the things I'd like to address is what you said earlier about Gamergate. I implore you to look more into Gamergate rather than the documentaries that were made about Gamergate, because Gamergate was a consumer revolt against the corruption in gaming journalism. I know what the propaganda was, but please look into who was making the documentary, okay? And why they were making it, okay? It's a whole ball of yarn that I won't unravel right now. I won't unravel it. You can do so at your own leisure if you'd like. Gamergate at this point is a dead meme. It's done. So I don't think it's worth your time to really look into it. But if you do want to speak more knowledgeably about it, instead of basically repeating what you've seen on these documentaries, I recommend that you look into Gamergate some more. Okay? The other thing I'd like to clarify is we are not the ones who will be vilifying you for your impartial stance here. You have apologized for maligning and denigrating us, okay? And we embrace you for it. We thank you wholeheartedly. The only thing is, now you've made yourself a target for people who are extremists on the other side. They're going to come at you, J. Scott Campbell. It may not be now. They may let it cool down a little bit, and then they're going to attack you on some nothing burger about maybe a month from now. A month from now, when you've gotten a commission to do maybe some sort of avatar, like, you know, James Cameron's coming out with the new Avatar. Maybe his I don't know if it's Fox. Maybe Fox will approach you. Fox and Disney will approach you like, hey, Mr. Campbell, can you please do us, an avatar, da 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 da. And it's at that point that they will attack you. They won't attack you right now. They'll attack you then on some nothing burger, like, hey, you made these aliens too sexy. Okay? And then they will refer back to here. Well, it's really not that surprising, because he actually defended Comicsgate, which are a legit hate group. Okay? So, yeah, you haven't gone away scot-free here, Mr. Campbell, J. Scott Campbell. As always, you will be one of my top 10 favorite artists. Now you've graduated to top 5 with the statement, okay? Top 5 artists of all time. And, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Anyhow, this has been a Bro Solo broadcast. Usually it's those dudes, right? It's me and Radical Latino, but this time it's just Bro Solo because he's busy doing other things, handling other business. In the meantime, I hope you, fellow comics gator, fellow freedom fighter, fellow, free speech advocate, I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. And I hope you, whatever project that you're involved in, I've seen a lot of them. Hell, I've been involved in quite a bit of them. For example, shout out to Hard Boiled Entertainment. You know what I mean? Hard Boiled Entertainment doing the Lord's work. You guys have to see what we have coming that I'm involved in with Hard Boiled Entertainment. I did some graphic design for him. His stuff's going to be just insane. Just insane. Right? So anyhow, all of you, who are in that creative community that we're involved in on Twitter, I wish you all the best in your projects. Go ahead and make some good comics. Peace out.